Hello. Welcome to Associated Renewables Energy Grants and Incentives webinar. Just a few technical difficulties here. We just want to make sure everybody's online. All right, well, welcome to our webinar. First off, if you could please turn off any cell phones that you might have. And if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand at any time, and we will address the question and move on. So we are Associated Renewable. We are an energy consulting and carbon management firm. In case this is your first time at one of our seminars or hearing from us, we are a full-service energy consulting and carbon management company. And today we're going to be talking about federal grants, state grants, and rebates. And I mean, the objective here is to really show everyone that there really is quite a bit of money out there that's available if you just know where to look and know how to submit the proper paperwork. So the first slide and the first kind of topic we want to cover are federal grants. With federal grants, really the two areas that we kind of see are looking at tax deductions and tax credits. For energy efficient commercial buildings, there are various corporate deductions. So these deductions can be for implementing new water heaters, new lighting controls and sensors, your chillers, your furnaces, your boilers, etc. The deduction amounts can range anywhere from 30 cents to $1.80 per square foot, depending on the technology and the amount of energy that's being reduced. Looking at the requirements, we see that the building must be certified as meeting specific energy reduction targets as a result of improvements in interior lighting, the building envelope, heating, cooling, ventilation, or water systems. Now, on the tax credit side, we're going to see corporate tax credits for anything that really has to do with an installation of renewable energy technology. So this might be solar water heaters, it might be solar thermal electric, it might be solar thermal process heating, photovoltaics, wind, biomass, geothermal electric, kind of etc. I mean, it's really anything that has to do with the renewable energy space is where you'll see your tax credit on this area. And the amount is going to be about 30% for solar, fuel cells, and small wind, and then 10% for geothermal or micro turbines and combined heat and power systems. And these systems must meet specific energy efficiency criteria, which normally is it's not too difficult to meet these requirements. So moving on to more of the New York State program, NYSERDA. NYSERDA is probably has one of the largest incentives programs out there. One of the first topics here that we'll discuss is Energy Smart New Construction Program. So this is a state rebate program. There's comprehensive measures for the whole building. There are some custom measures. Generally, we see a 50 to 75% grant or incentive for the implementation cost, depending on the type of projects. So here we want to stress that there is an incredible amount of money available. For example, we see that there is $825,000 for upstate residents and up to $1.5 million for Con Edison customers. That's not including bonus incentives. So you really want to pay attention here to the details that we're kind of going to discuss and move along as we move forward, because they kind of determine the amount of money that you're eligible for. So if we look at the existing facilities program, this is another program that NYSERDA has, also a state rebate program. The equipment, installation, lighting controls and sensors, chillers, furnaces, boilers and heat pumps. I can keep going along the list, but these are generally the rebates you have for the existing facilities, and we can go in and upgrade these systems. So looking at the numbers, there's a series of pre-qualified measures that vary from measure to measure. We generally see that, for upstate, on any electric efficiency improvements, you'll receive 12 cents per kilowatt hour saved. And now downstate, it's generally about 16 cents per kilowatt hour. Looking at natural gas efficiency and national fuel gas, we can see a price of $15 per million BTU. For energy storage, we see $300 per kilowatt in the upstate area, and double $600 per kilowatt for the downstate. Demand response, we have $100 per kilowatt for upstate, and again double for downstate, which is $200 per kilowatt. And these are just general estimates. I mean, there are plenty of additional incentives, that we like to call bonus incentives, that are available. Looking at the industrial process efficiency, it's the same as electric and natural gas performance incentives. And if you have operational changes that might be a part of this industrial process efficiency, we can see 5 cents per kilowatt hour for electric and $6 per million BTU for gas. And looking at super efficient chiller bonuses, we'll see up to $1,400 per kilowatt on a full load, or $1,000 per kilowatt on an LPV. So when we talk about maximum amount allotted, we generally see that for pre-qualified measures, we're dealing with $30,000 on the electric side, and on the natural gas and natural fuel gas side, we're looking at $25,000. The electric efficiency and energy storage will max out about 50% of the cost, or $2 million. So, if we move on to demand response, we'll see that 75% of the cost, or $2 million, is available. Now, this limit also applies to combined performance based on efficiency and demand response measures. So, if we look at industrial process efficiency, we see 50% of the cost again, or this time up to $5 million. And monitoring and base commissioning, again, 50% of the cost, or $500,000. So, the general summary here is that we see that you really can save 50% of your implementation costs with these pre-qualified measures. Now let's take a look at Con Ed. Con Ed has a commercial and industrial energy efficiency program that is a utility rebate program. It is for refrigerators, water heaters, lighting control and sensors, chillers, heat pumps, central air conditioners, generally the exact same things as we saw with the NYSERDA program. However, now we're on the Con Edison side. So here we have a list of figures, and I'm not going to go through all of these, but if you have questions or you want anything in detail, feel free to email us at any point, and we'll be happy to send you along all this information. But to highlight a few key areas that we want to point out and have you pay attention to are really, the first one is that you can receive 50% of the cost for a large commercial energy study. And looking at custom efficiency measures, you can save anywhere between 8 cents per kilowatt hour to 13 cents per kilowatt hour, which really adds up. If we look at the chillers, you can save $30 per ton. And if we look at high intensity discharge lighting, we'll see, between $25 and $50. So, all these things really do add up. Now, Con Ed also has a multifamily energy efficiency incentive program. And this is also a utility rebate program for refrigerators and lighting and heat pumps and air conditioners, just as we've seen with the C&I program. Here, again, things to highlight would be the heat pumps or air conditioning, you can save $50 per ton. Fluorescent lighting, you can save anywhere between $10 and $150 per fixture. And occupancy sensors they can give you up to $50 per sensor, which will really help reduce your overall efficiency. And one last thing is, looking at refrigerators, they'll give you from 100 to 320, or room air conditioners, where I said $30. So really, there is quite a bit that's available. Now we can continue to go into the nitty-gritty detail here, but I really want to emphasize that if you have any questions, just feel free to email us or give us a call, and we can really share a lot of this information with you. But things to highlight for the multifamily, again, are boilers. So the boilers, if you have a boiler or purchase a new boiler that's between 85 and 89% efficiency, Con Ed will have a grant between $1,000 and $3,500 per boiler. And if your boiler is 90% efficient or greater, you're actually eligible for anywhere between $2,000 and $15,000 per boiler. So you really want to take a look at the efficiency levels of the boilers that you have right now in place, and see, by improving that efficiency, how much you can actually save. Now, the National Grid is a third incentive program that we deal with. This one for National Grid is the Commercial Energy Efficiency Rebate Program for the Metro New York area. Now, this is a utility rebate program. The equipment we're looking at, again, are water heaters and furnaces, boilers, CHP and cogeneration systems, heat recovery, steam system upgrades, etc. And here again, we see a 50% incentive for any energy efficiency engineering study. Now, these can be custom, they can be large industrial gas incentives that will give you, again, 50%. Furnaces, we see between $200 and $400. Condensing boilers between $2,000 to $15,000, depending on the type. Piping insulation, they'll be from $1.50 per foot, and building insulation, we can look at 20% of total installed costs. So NYSERDA, kind of going back to NYSERDA, they also have a photovoltaics incentive program. So this would be a state rebate program where they give you $1.75 per watt for direct current, and the incentive may be reduced for potential production losses associated with shading, system orientation, the tilt angle, and a series of other factors. The maximum determined by the sector, the incentive level, may not exceed 40% of the cost after any additional tax credits. So for residential, we're looking at around $12,250, and for non-residential, this would max out around $87,500. So the systems and components, they must be new. The modules and inverters must meet applicable UL and IEE standards. And the monitoring equipment must have an accuracy of plus minus 5%, as well as a minimum 5-year system warranty against any breakdowns or degradation of more than 10% from the original rated output. Now, NYSERDA has a solar thermal incentive program as well. So this is for solar water heaters, where you will save $1.50 per kilowatt hour displaced annually, for displacement of up to 80% of the calculated existing thermal load. So for residential, we're looking at around $4,000 per site per meter, and for non-residential, we're going to be looking at $25,000 per site per meter. So this incentive, might also be capped at 80% of the calculated existing thermal load. However, all solar thermal systems and components must be new. Again, collectors and hot water tanks must be SRCC rated and listed as program eligible in Power Clerk. Now, if we look at a real-life case study, looking at a oil to gas conversion, we can see, looking here, we have a building that's 170,000 square feet. It's 214 units, 6 floors. The capital cost to convert 2 boilers and 2 burners was around $326,000. Now, so what was the outcome? Well, in terms of cost, the pre-conversion heating oil cost was $245,917. Post-conversion, we're looking at $147,000. So we lowered it by $100,000, and literally $98,000. We saved 307 kilowatt hours of electricity. Or we went from 307,000 down to 280,000, which translates to about $5,000 per year of electric savings. And all of this comes at a price of only 3.4 years, so relatively small payback time for the amount of money that you'll be saving during this time and after. So one thing we like to really stress is that these grants and rebates and incentives are time limited. The money is there now, however, it's decreasing on a daily basis. So the best thing you can do is act now to guarantee that you will have these savings before they're all gone. And we like to emphasize that we can offset the capital cost for upgrades with these incentives. Like as we said, the average was a 50% savings on energy studies and all implementation measures. So like I said, a lot of money out there, and if you act now, you can reserve what's yours and implement these measures and increase your efficiency. And that just about concludes our webinar. So if anybody has questions, feel free to ask them now or email us at info@associatedrenewable.com. And I want to thank you for attending the webinar.